So let's talk about physics in the King of Fighters 14. First things first, we have to go ahead and commend SNK for actually creating realistic jiggle physics. That is not something that actually exists. In most games, we get this over the top, unnecessarily, all over the place, titties flying in the air, dead or alive, or we get the still and clunky Street Fighter 5 type of jiggle physics. We never ever really get something in between. The only other game that I series I can say that almost had the in between was Soul Calibur, but it still kind of had a almost dead or alive-esque type of look to it. But this here is actually the character bounces. The jiggle physics bounces as the character bounces, but it matches the bounce of the character. But it doesn't also just, it actually has a natural flow to it, which is pretty damn awesome that they was able to achieve this. You also see this when you look at Leona's hair as well. The hair is bouncing in the directions of the body, therefore it is post-matching realism mechanics, which is pretty damn awesome. So if you don't like the graphics, you can at least give them, commending them for their physics. Their physics is on point. Same thing with King's hair. You can see her little front and little bang bouncing when she does her little pose, and you see it bouncing throughout the match. Kyo Kusanagi, you can see his hair actually moving, and he has really short hair. Not to mention, you can also see Vice's hair in the trailer moving when she goes into her pose, as well as you can see Kim and Iori's hair and K-Dash. So let's just go ahead and say this. The hair physics in this game is great. Most games, when a character has really short hair, they really don't give them any physics at all. They kind of keep it still because it's like, hey, let's take the lazy route out. But King of Fighters is paying attention to deep detail, which is what I like to see. As well as, let's go ahead and talk about clothing. So far, the only clothing figures that I have actually seen would have to be Iori's, which is his trench coat. It actually moves when he fights, which is pretty awesome. Nobody wants a stiff trench coat. And it's actually moving a lot more than it did when we first saw him, which it was only moving slightly. Now it's moving as in when he jumps, it goes up. Kind of like, it's almost on the level of Bison's trench coat in Street Fighter 5, but not quite there yet. Bison's trench coat is more fabric-y. It's not so stiff. It's not as stiff as Iori's, but it makes sense for a trench coat with the type of fabric that it looks to be leather that Iori has to have that kind of a slight stiffness to it, more than Bison's. It's more of a fabric type coat anyway, and it has a fabric-y type of fold to it when he moves. So it's two different styles of fabric, two different styles of animating physics, and overall two different types of characters. So far, also another one that we can mention is Kula. Her hair, because of her abilities, her hair moves all the time, but it also has normal hair physics as well when she is fighting, which is pretty damn awesome. Also, the animations on her eyes has gotten better and better with each build of the game and with each trailer. So, and if you also notice here that in this gameplay, it looks better than watching the actual trailers, and I've kind of come to realize the reason why that is. Certain games look better compressed than they do in their vanilla state, as in not adding Photoshop or anything to it or changing the contrast or anything. Certain games just look better when they're on a screen, more so than when they are being recorded pure raw footage. That's the same thing goes for some TV shows. Some TV shows don't look right when they're recorded raw. They look better when they're more compressed. Which, you know, it just depends on the type of thing. Street Fighter 5 is one of those series that it doesn't really matter whether it's compressed or not. It has a really, really cartoonish-like feel to it. Therefore, it's just going to look the same all the way around. But when it comes to something as post-realism like King of Fighters that has a slight anime edge to it, it looks to be that it looks better compressed than it does on raw footage, which is what we get with the trailers. So, for those still complaining about the graphics, it's going to get better. Now, I don't think that it's going to look amazing in terms of raw footage to compress. I think it will get to a great state. I don't know about amazing. If it does get to amazing, I'll be perfectly fine with that. But at the moment right now, it looks to be looking better compressed. And if you just go read articles, there are actually big name fighters of King of Fighters and Street Fighter and Tekken that have played King of Fighters 14, and they have said that it looks better when you're playing it on the screen. It looks great compared to watching the trailer, which they said the trailers don't do it justice, which I can kind of believe. But other than that, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys in the next one, and I'm out.
they really got your back?